come song. Today we are going to learn this short story called The Black Aeroplane. You know, in chapter number 3 of this English textbook of class 10, we have got 2 stories, right? And the first one is his first flight. And that one we have already learned in our previous class. And it was about a young seagull not being able to fly because of lack of his courage and self-confidence, and how his mother helped him to fly at last, right? Now, this one is part number 2, and it is called The Black Aeroplane, and it's also about flying, and it was written by Frederick Forsyth. Okay, and this is about mystery. And this author, Frederick Forsyth, is a British novelist. He writes short stories also, and he was born in 1938. And then his works are The Fist of God, The Dogs of War, and The Day of the Jackal. And The Day of the Jackal has become very famous, right, due to the movie also, which was based on this story. Now, and as usual, in order to understand the short story or any story, we need to understand the elements, right? And then I have listed these elements here again. And first one is characters. We have to find the characters from this story, okay, in order to understand the story properly. And setting also. Now, characters means the ones who are taking part in the story. That could be primary characters, that could be secondary characters. And setting is about time and place, all right? Where is it happening and when is it happening? And then we have conflict of ideas. A conflict is always there in the story, okay? In order to overcome that problem and conflict, and the main character has to do a lot of work. The plot is the story itself, as we have mentioned earlier. It is just like, it goes in exposition, then it climbs up, and then there's a climax, then resolution. It just goes on like that. Now, in the mystery, in the story of mystery, there is element of surprise and suspense also, right? And that makes it very interesting. And then, of course, the theme. Themes are just, the central idea. The theme is the central idea of the story. Okay, and see. Before I start this, I want to ask you a question. Do you believe in miracles? Do you believe in miracles? Because this story is about miracle that shifts into mystery. There's a pilot who goes from France to London, and on the way he gets trapped in cloud storm. How he comes out of it? Does he survive? If yes, then how? To find it out, let's read this story. Okay, this is page number 37, and then this story is in first person narrative. That means the person who is the author himself is the main character in the story. That's why it starts with I, okay? And then the story goes on like this. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France, back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at the watch. It was 1:30 in the morning. Okay, now, this man is flying, all right? And then the setting, okay, you can say that it was during the night time. I mean, you can say morning also at 1:30 when it is dark. It is dark, and he could see the sky and then clear stars and the moon, and then people mostly down there in the countryside over the land where from where he was flying were all sleeping, and he was flying in an old Dakota aeroplane. These are old aeroplanes, and he was alone. Okay, he was going from France. He may have been walking in France and going back to England on vacation to meet his family. That was in the early morning at 1:30. Now, next paragraph. I should call Paris control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the light of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and called Paris control, Dakota GS 088 here. Can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. Now, this is how, just like we have traffic control on land with the lights red, yellow, green, right? And this policeman also there on land, right? To control the vehicles, the movement. Just like that, they have these traffic control towers which communicates with the aeroplanes, the flying objects in the sky, and gives them direction, okay, through wireless or through, by using radios. And they use radars, these big machines, to see the signal and find out where the aeroplanes are going. Okay, this is how these control towers in the airport during the peacetime and even in the wartime, they use radars to detect the aeroplanes or flying things in the sky. Now, all those airports, they have control towers, and he was calling to the Paris control. He was thinking about calling so that he wanted to say that he was flying, right? Then I saw the light of big city in front of me. Now that was Paris, he could see. And then he called Paris control, and this is the aeroplane. The model of this plane is DS-088. And he was saying, can you hear me? I'm on my way to England. Over. Over means now you have to speak. Okay, when I say over, then I stop speaking, and then the person from the other side has to speak. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS-088, I can hear you. This is the communication from the control tower. Okay, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS-088. Over. Now he's getting directions from the tower, and he was asked to move 12 degrees west, his airplane, right? And then I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and the last fuel tank. Now fuel is needed, right? And they have first tank, second tank, and some of the planes have more tanks, but he had 2 tanks there, and then his first tank was already over. Had finished, and he had switched on to the second tank and the fuel tank. Now see, and on the Dakota, 12 degrees west of England. Then I will be in time for breakfast. I thought a good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Now, his plane had enough fuel to reach England, just enough, okay? And then he had received the direction from the Paris control also, and then he was moving to England, and he was thinking about his reunion with his family and having breakfast also there. And now next paragraph. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds, storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. Now see, he had already left Paris, and then he was, the planes can run fast, right? Fly fast. And 150 kilometers ahead of Paris, he had already reached. And then what happened was, all of a sudden, he saw a big cloud, storm cloud, just like mountains in front of him. Then at one point he thought like it was not possible for him to fly over that cloud or from this left or right, because he did not have enough fuel. He had just enough fuel to reach England only, right? In order to fly past and over the cloud, it needs a lot of fuel. So it was not possible. And then next one is, I ought to go back to Paris. And I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. Now, first thought, was that he has to now he has to get back, return to Paris. And all of a sudden, what he thought was he wanted to be at home. He was missing his home very much, and that breakfast especially was luring him to go ahead to England, right? And then I'll take the risk, and he was taking the risk now. I thought and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. Now he wanted to go into the storm and then come out of the storm and reach England. Inside the cloud, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. Now see, he was already in the storm, and then the storm was, shoving his aeroplane, pushing his aeroplane. He started losing control over his plane. Next page. I couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too, and I tried the radio. Now see, compass, compass, they are supposed to show you the direction, right? And then when you find the compass just revolving, going around like this, then it means it's not working, right? And then other instruments in the airplane were also not working. Then he tried the radio. He tried to, communicate with the control tower. What happens? Now see. Next paragraph. Paris control, can you hear me? But there was no answer. Now when he tried to contact the Paris control, there was no response from there. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Now he was lost in the storm. He was very much frightened now, right? He was very much hopeless also, right? But what happened here was, now you can see that, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on the wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. Okay, I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. He lifted one hand and waved. Now see, it would be great relief to see somebody coming to help you in such situation, right? He had lost everything. Compass was not working. The radio was not working. Then all of a sudden, miraculously, right, there was another plane, but there was no light. And the wings also, they were supposed to have lights, right? And the tail also, it didn't have light. And then but he could see the face of the pilot. He was waving him. He was trying to say something. Let's find out that. Follow me, he was saying, follow me. He knows that I am lost. I thought he's trying to help me. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north, in front of my Dakota, so that it would be easier for me to follow him. And I was very happy to go behind this strange aeroplane like an obedient child. Now, that plane, he waved his hand and signaled him to follow him. He came straight in front of his plane. He could see the nose of his plane also. Nose means the front side, right, of his own plane, and he could see that plane also. It was giving him direction. And then this this author who was on this plane which had lost the direction, right? All right, he was following that strange plane just like a child, obedient child, okay, because he had no other options. Then after half an hour, the strange black airplane was still there in front of me in the cloud. Now it had been, about half an hour since he was following this strange airplane, right? Now, next page, there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tanks to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again. Now see, he didn't have enough, fuel, right? He had just enough fuel to reach England. Then after flying for about half an hour, he realized that now they were not reaching anywhere. So he realized that he had only the fuel of 5 minutes to 10 minutes, right? And then this was the second time he got frightened. First time when he encountered that storm, right? And the second time is when he realized that his tank was, he didn't have enough fuel there. Okay, and then he started to go down. The plane which was leading him started to go down. That means the runway may be somewhere near, right? The airport. And then I followed through the storm. Suddenly I came out of the clouds and saw two straight lines of lights in front of me. It was a runway and airport. I was safe. Now see, you can see these straight lines of lights. It signals like that means that is the runway, right? A plane needs to land. In order to land, you need runway. And then that was an airport. And then he thought that he was safe because he saw those that runway and an airport, right? And the airport. And I turned to look for my friend. The friend means who helped him, right? That the pilot in that black aeroplane. In the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nobody there. And there was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. And I could not see it anywhere. Now he couldn't find it. And then what happened? On the next paragraph here, I landed and was not sorry to walk away from this old Dakota near the control tower. He went straight to the control tower, and then he went there to ask the woman. The woman was there in the control tower, right? And then control center, okay, where I was, and he asked where I am now. And who is that other pilot who helped me? That's what he asked to this lady in the control tower. They are supposed to know how many planes are flying in the sky because they can detect it with the help of their radars. Okay, radars means machines, big machines that can display the flying objects on the computer screens. And then I wanted to say thank you. I just want to say thank you to that pilot who helped me through that storm. So I want to know where he is. That's what he asked this lady in the control tower. And then she looked at me very, very strangely and then laughed. She was, due to some reason, she was laughing and said strangely, what? Which other airplane? Which pilot you're talking about? And that may have been the expression of this lady in the control tower. And then another aeroplane up there in the storm. No other airplanes were flying tonight. It is just your airplane only was flying in this stormy night. No other plane was there. So what are you talking about? That is what was the response of this lady from the control tower there. Now they are physically together there, right? On the ground, not communicating from the sky. They are both on the ground, in the airport, okay, in this control center. And then the last paragraph. So who helped me? Now this Frederick Forsyth is saying, who helped me? Now who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or without radio and without a fuel tank? And then who was the pilot in that strange airplane flying in the storm without light? Okay, this is how this story ends. And then let's come back to these elements. Okay, the characters. You can say the characters. Frederick Forsyth himself is the main character there, right? You can say that. Yeah, it is. And that pilot in the black aeroplane who helped him is also a character, main character. And this lady in the control tower. These are the three characters there. Okay? Main characters there. And setting is at the night time and the morning, okay, early morning at 1. The timing is 1:30 to half an hour it took them flying, in the sky. More than that, maybe. That is the timing. Early in the morning. It starts with at 1:30, and then the stars were, there. He has explained it like that. And then the place was in the sky and flying from France to England. In the airport also. The setting places there in the sky and in the at the airport. At the airport also. Okay. And the conflict, you can say the conflict was when he was flying, and then all of a sudden he saw that stormy cloud. There was a conflict of thought that at first he thought like he should go back to Paris. Again, he decided not to go back. He went ahead, and when he reached inside, he was trapped in this cloudy storm, and there was a huge conflict. He had lost his control over the plane, right? Okay, and that is also a conflict, and that is also climax, And then this plot, the plot exposition, he was just, happily satisfied flying over this countryside of this France, going towards England, and then there he met, goes on. There's a conflict there. There's a climax in the storm, and then resolution starts when this black aeroplane, the pilot of the black aeroplane, helped him to get down to the airport safely. Okay. That is the resolution. And here there's an element of surprise also. Surprise, he was surprised to see somebody else in that storm. And then suspense also, right? Surprise was there later on when he couldn't find who helped him. That was a mystery, right? And then that was the element of suspense, right? This element of surprise and suspense are the ornaments of short stories, because this makes the short stories, or any story for that matter, very interesting and attractive. Okay, so elements of surprise and suspense are very important in the stories. Okay, and that is what is very skillfully used by Frederick Forsyth, right? And then the theme. Okay, the theme is there. You can write in one line, right? Always. No matter whether you are in great difficulty, you should not lose hope. Okay, you should not lose hope even if you are in the times of difficulty, because miracles can happen. Okay, that appearance of the black aeroplane in the storm was a miracle. He was miraculously saved by this pilot of the black aeroplane, right? And then it turned into mystery when he couldn't find him on the land. Now see, that is the element. These are the elements. Now the big question is, who was that pilot in the black aeroplane? Okay, this is a big question, isn't it? This is a suspense situation, right? Mysterious situation, element of suspense. Now see, these are open-ended questions. You can say it could have been an alien helping him, or it could be an angel who helped him, or you can say friendly ghost, or the God himself. It's not given in the story. This is the beauty of language or literature, that unlike other subjects, you can have open-ended questions and answers. Also, you can give answers according to your own imaginations, and then be right also, right? So this is up to you, because such elements makes such elements of surprise and suspense and mystery. It keeps the story fresh. All right, and because you can have debate over this also, right? Who could be that person, and discussion also. So that is up to you to decide, because these are open-ended questions. You can be right, and it could be imagination also, his own imagination, because he was missing his home so much, and that he wanted to be there at home and have that breakfast, and it could be his imagination also. And these are all the speculations that because of these open-ended questions, you can have any answers and also enjoy that. And then make your own answers also, okay? And this is it from me today. Thank you very much.